Welcome back to Obscure Star Wars EU. It's day 3 of 10, where for the next 10 days I'm uploading an Obscure Star Wars EU video every single day. And for day 3, I have quite an obscure source book that comes straight from the UK. It's called Star Wars Graphics, and it's an infographics book that comes from the United Kingdom and was released post-decanonization. Yet it has an abundance of expanded universe references inside. I talked about this in my post-2014 decanonization expanded universe video, where I talked a bit about this in passing, but at the time I didn't have this book yet, and there is a ton of great expanded universe references in this book. So let's peel back the pages and learn a little more about this book. Star Wars Graphics was published exclusively in the United Kingdom by Egmont UK, which is a publishing house that exists over there. It was released on May 5th of 2016 in hardcover and was 128 pages. Christopher Nelson covered Star Wars Graphics in a really excellent video about it about a year ago. It's definitely worth a watch if you have time. It looks at the first 6 Star Wars films exclusively and includes a ton of expanded universe information regarding it. Famously, Pablo Hidalgo was not aware that the book existed, as on Twitter he showcased just how much he really does know when he revealed that he hasn't even heard of it. It has completely slipped his mind, which is hilarious. A paperback version of Star Wars Graphics that was updated for the Disney canon continuity was released, but the updated paperback version is exclusively a part of the Disney canon and is not a part of the Star Wars expanded universe. So with all of that in mind, let's take a look at Star Wars Graphics. Alright, so opening up the pages of Star Wars Graphics, we are told we're going to be exploring Star Wars through infographics. Here's the spine. It's by Egmont, which is a UK company. Originally retailed for £12.99. I got mine for $3. Steal of a deal. It can be gotten pretty cheap on eBay. This provides a idea for what the art style will be like in here, and it's not an art style which I'm personally a fan of. It's very stylized, and it promises this information. Now, this says Disney, because it came out 2016, but it is all expanded universe references and connections from within inside. So, to my Disney-phobic Star Wars friends, never fear. There is Star Wars expanding universe information in here. Publication info, and we get all these highly stylized pages here. We have a little table of contents, which I'll try to angle here so to get a better scene. Okay, so table of contents, second trilogy, first trilogy, general information, 1977 to 2005, general information for this time period, and opening that up, we get a look at some of these planets. These are all planets from the films. And these pages are quite thick. We get a little look at the Jedi turned Sith, the Jedi Council, and we get the BBY to ABY scale, accurate to the expanding universe. We have a little art for Plagueis, Sidious, Maul, Tyrannus, Vader, and Anakin, which is really, really cool. We get a look at the Jedi Council, and here's where some expanded universe information arises. So we have Eth Koth up here, and it mentions that his apprentice is Sharad Het, straight from the expanding universe. We have mentions of Trasa, Depa-Billaba, Echu Shenjon, Darish Jet, Devin Fordeshel. All of this is super obscure expanding universe information here. We have Depa-Billaba, we have Plo Koon, and it mentions Bolter Swan and Lissark, and Tyvoka being his master, again, EU. Uriel Poof and his apprentice Roran Karab from the Micro series, again, expanding universe. We get Yaddle being the master of Opa Rancisis, which was an expanding universe edition. We have Kiadi Mundi down here, and it shows you that the Dark Woman Anya Kurdo was a master of his, and shows that his apprentices Asherad Het and Dama Montalvo and Tarsier, all from the expanding universe. We have Yoda here, and we have his master listed, Nakata del Gormo. Look at that. Outside of the original magazine, the original Galaxy magazine where Nakata del Gormo first appeared. I don't think anywhere else in the expanding universe we have confirmation, other than right here, that Nakata del Gormo is indeed Yoda's Jedi Master. So that's super cool. We have his apprentices listed, who a lot of them come from the EU. We have Dooku, Windus, Drawlig, right? Pretty standard. But then we have Ikrit, Kuron, Ramkoda, Kenobi, Fisto, Mundi, Rancisis, and Skywalker. Tons of EU stuff there. We have Saci Tin, and we have his master listed as Omo Buari, which I believe is EU. Then we have Adigalia, and we have her apprentice listed as Siritachi, which is, of course, Jedi Apprentice-related expanding universe. We have Yaddle right here, and we have her master Pulvin Cut, straight from the Tales comic. Absolutely insane that we got that right there. And we have her apprentice Empatigeos Brand, straight from Dark Empire. Absolutely wild to see his name printed in here. Then we have Even Peel and his apprentice Jax Pavin. In the past video I did where I mentioned graphics, that is the piece of lore information that I referenced from this book that was included in this book in my post-expanding universe decanonization video, because I did know that Jax Pavin was mentioned in here, which is so super cool. We have a page Jedi versus Sith, and it shows us generally movie-related information. Skimming along through similar stuff. We have lists of killings right here on this page. And we have a look at all of these super cool lightsabers here. So an array of lightsabers, very, very nice, very, very nice to see that here. Pretty cool. Then we have some starships. All super awesome. And we continue with more starships here. Then we have some lifespans of species, which is pretty neat. We have the amount of kisses per movies, which is hilarious. Of course, we need to know that. We have the amount of I have a bad feeling about thises throughout the Star Wars franchise. So this is really for like casual Star Wars fans, but it's super fun and it's got some deep cut information. We have lots of the characters and where they lose their body parts up there, which is great. Absolutely fantastic page. So I'd recommend this for all Star Wars casual fans and Star Wars Expanding Universe fans. This is a super fun little book. Lots of great information here. Then this is great. It shows us when Star Wars stuff came out, and it shows us that from 1991 to 2012, we got 307 books, 115 comics, 92 video games, 6 films, and 4 cartoons in that time span. And we have those listed here, including Ewoks, which is so dope that that's listed. We have Dark Empire listed here, the Thrawn trilogy, Shadows of the Empire, Rogue Squadron from Dark Horse, Episode 1 Racer, Rogue Squadron, Han Solo trilogy, Tag and Binker Dead is listed, KOTOR 2, The Clone Wars, KOTOR, Labyrinth of Evil. We have Rogue Squadron 2, Rogue Leader, The Force Unleashed 2, and The Force Unleashed, Darth Plagueis, The Clone Wars show, The Galaxies video game. Absolutely so cool. And we have Clone Wars 2003, all listed here. We have the filming locations for the franchise and where those locations were. We have characters' quotes and lines per film, which is super cool, and the average per film. We have information on how quickly it would take for the Millennium Falcon to get around in locations prudent to Europe, which is really fun. We have the number of action figures per character that had been released. Look at that, 106 for Luke here. Wow. Number of figures produced by decade, which is absolutely so cool. We have the average midichlorian counts out spread out and around on this graph, which is super cool, with Anakin being way out here, Yoda and Sidious being way out there, and then the poor Shmis and Lando are right there near the center. We have the size the approximate sizes for the vehicles out here on this helpful little graph. This is Star Wars graphics. What else were you expecting? We have comparisons for the mirrors between the prequels and the OT. We have the length of the main theme, which is fascinating here. All of this information is really, really quite fascinating. Information on the first trilogy. We have characters' heights. We have specs for the various vehicles. We have the cost of various things. Greedo's life, 4,100 credits. Boba's daily expensive, 500. Chewbacca's bowcaster, free, it's a sale. 20 billion credits for the Death Star. 3,000 for a lightsaber. We have the various planets. We have the final battle and the information regarding both sides. The chronology and the events in the order there. We have Death Star specs. We have the cantina here with the layout and the grid. So cool. And we have the flight plan of Episode 5. Episode 5 final battle laid out. We have Return of the Jedi. The flight plans laid out. And we have the verses for the final battle with the stats for both sides. And we have the chronology of that final battle listed out here. All laid out and very easy to read, very simplified, very fun formatting. It's simple, but it's just really fun to follow. Just a fun book to just glance over by a fire in the winter. The amount of debt that Han Solo owes to Jabba, hilarious stuff. What does a Jedi use each item for? Very fun. Character costumes throughout the films and the changes to them. Very, very neat. Leia, of course, has a total of 11 different costumes. Vader has 1, Obi-Wan has 1, Chewbacca has 1, Luke has 12, Han has 10, Leia has 11, and Lando has 3. And then we have the second trilogy. And the height comparisons. The flight plan of Episode 1. Episode 1 pod race information. Elon Mack, Bull's Roar, Outer Beto, Gascano, Ebb Endicott, very fun information. We have the chronology of the Episode 1 racers and stats for their pod racers. Continuing on to the next page. We have the final battle and the chronology of it. We have the flight plan of Attack of the Clones. And the final battle of Attack of the Clones and the chronology of it. We have Episode 3's flight plans and the final battle. We have the chronology and events. And finally, the costumes for this film series per film. And that is all she wrote. That's the end of Star Wars graphics. So some really cool deep cut Star Wars Expanding Universe references in here that make this definitely worth picking up in my opinion. It's also super fun for just casual movie Star Wars fans as well in general. Definitely something that I'd recommend picking up. It's pretty obscure because it was only released in the UK, but if you have a chance to get your hands on it, to get a hold of this little book, I'd definitely say it's worth the money. It goes for pretty cheap on eBay, so definitely be on the lookout for it. This is totally a fun little source book.